And hello there. Allow me to get the microphone right where it's supposed to be. And I am Dave LaMont. Thank you. It's time for your Monday Nooner with me. Monday and Friday at noon on Facebook Live. And I've got an announcement to make that I'm going to sort of increase my social media presence a little bit. And I'll tell you more about that as time goes on. I got what I need to talk about today right here. And we'll start with the excitement, I hope, for you of Major League Baseball being back. And I thought about this over the weekend, and I'm perfectly fine with this. Yes, it stinks that you can't go to the games. Now, if you don't know where I live in South Florida, and I could drive 30, 40 minutes down to where the Miami Marlins play. It's not a bad stadium, as I've talked about, but can't do it. I'll survive. It's going to be okay. As long as we beat this virus, and there was some encouraging news out of England regarding a vaccine, so that's cool. We may start to turn the corner on this darn thing soon. In the meantime, while we wait for clinical trials and all that, we have to discuss baseball. So it's really funny because I wrote down on the little blurb I put on Facebook about 10:30 that Major League Baseball really is the canary in a coal mine. I'm not saying anything against Major League Soccer, which has so far gone pretty much without a hitch, except the local team can't win. And I'm not talking about the United Soccer League. That's going on well. Happy to say that. May even actually get a chance to broadcast a couple of those games next month, so I'm excited. Hopefully it stays good. Not talking about NASCAR, although things got weird with Bubba Wallace a few days ago. Fans booing him. There were Confederate flags in the stands, which I didn't think was going to be allowed. And he was wrecked, possibly on purpose, but I am not saying that that's what it was. I said only possibly. No, this is and not the PGA Tour, which is far from a canary in a coal mine because it's just a limited number of people. They're spread out. There's no fans. Anyway, the canary in the coal mine, which is off the Zenyatta Mondatta album by The Police, great record, great band, is Major League Baseball. And the canary in a coal mine, it refers to literally what it sounds like. You would send a canary down in the coal mine, and if it's like a tester to see how it would survive the gases and everything. The coal mines are horrifying places. And if the canary emerged all right, we were good. If it didn't, we kind of knew. So this is the canary in the coal mine starting on the 23rd with Major League Baseball. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. I am hoping that we can get 60 games in with a minimum amount of interruptions for COVID-19. It is impossible to assume that it's going to go cleanly. That's insane. There have been players who have opted out. That's their right. I have no problem with that. I do have one problem, one thing though. One huge problem. Apparently, MLB is going to pump in artificial crowd noise. I'm out. Don't do this to me. You're trying to, well, there's an expression about pee on my leg and telling me it's raining. And that's what this is. I know there's nobody there. You can have all of your $80 cardboard cutouts, as many as you want. Well, we know that there's no crowd there. So why fake it? I'm not big on faking it. All right? Not at all. I've been convinced for years and years and years, and this isn't a knock on my colleagues at CBS, that during March Madness basketball games that they pump in artificial sneaker noise. Because if you ever listen to it, even when some players aren't even moving, there's sneaker noise. And I have been to a lot of basketball games in my life, in every capacity you can think of, practically. And I don't hear that kind of squeaky sneaker noise when I'm at a game, very often. Now, let's get back to baseball. It's wide open. You think you know who's going to be good. You think it's the Yankees and the Astros and the Twins and Dodgers. They're certainly a very strong favorite. But we don't really know. Somebody gets hot. A couple of guys have great seasons that you're not expecting. A couple of players have the virus affect them, and there's always a risk of injury anytime an athlete takes to the field. So to me, it's a wide open season. And I think it's kind of exciting. And every game really is going to have an effect. Every game is going to count. You know, you lose a game in May, and unless you're a talk show caller and you're calling WFAN in New York and you want to complain about the Yankees, But if you're a normal person, you wouldn't get that worked up about it. Now, you got something to get worked up about because you just don't have that many shots. So you got that going for you. Now, what are we going to do about the Houston Astros this year, folks? I've gone back and forth on the Houston Astros, not obviously in favor of what they did, but what the season was going to be like for them. Remember all of the veiled and not so veiled threats that basically they were going to be doing nothing but dodging pitches every guy who came up. Even guys who weren't on the team the year before were probably going to be thrown at. Now there is a pretty strict no fighting MLB rule this year. So you're not going to get the joy, those of you who are into that kind of thing, of watching bullpens empty and mounds being charged and bats being thrown and people being pushed and shoved and all of the other stuff. I don't think they're going to allow that this year. Plus, you're not going to have the fans banging trash cans and all the other stuff. All of that. Not happening. So, should we still even be mad at the Cardinals? I'm okay with it if you are. I wouldn't, if I were to have gone to an Astros game, I'd say Cardinals, I'm an Astros. If I were to go to an Astros game, I wouldn't be doing that. That's not my nature anyway as a fan. But the punishment's been handed out. It's clear we're not going anywhere else with this. If you want to boo, you can boo. But have we not picked up an ounce of perspective about what's really important in life over since the middle of March, when we've all been largely strapped to our couches, save for the occasional round of golf, trip to the store kind of thing? So it's okay if you want to let out your hostility if you're watching the Astros on TV. You want to bang a trash can in your own home? Go right ahead. And I don't know what's going to happen in the 2021 season, which I'm going to assume will be a normal one. 162 games, spring training in March in Arizona and Florida and all that good stuff. So we'll see. I, for one, have kind of moved on. I thought the title should have been taken away. And just left vacant. You don't award it the second place, okay? You vacate the title. I thought that would have been the ultimate appropriate punishment for such blatant cheating. Didn't happen, as we know. So what are you going to do? You can't go back now. We can't step back in the time machine. Man, if we could do that, whew, what a great life that would be. But we're not going to do that. What I'm hoping for is a season where guys stay healthy, as virus-free as possible. As you read about Freddie Freeman of the Braves just now coming back after having that virus, there's a little video of him, and he gets to the top of the dugout, and he's like, oh, man, does this feel good. And that's apparently why the Braves' Nick Markakis opted out after talking to Freeman. Markakis didn't want anything to do with it. And again, I am not going to criticize somebody who backs out of something because of the virus. I don't think that's fair. If you want to go, if you want to go to an NFL game this year, if you're one of the people that if some stadiums are going to allow fans and you want to go, that's okay, as long as you go through the protocols and do everything right. But if you've decided that there's no chance I'm going to go to a sporting event, even if I could, I cannot criticize you for that. That'd be ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So Major League Baseball is first. NFL camps are supposed to be open for rookies as early as Tuesday, and I think the 28th is when everybody is supposed to show up. And the NFL players are already talking about, can we do a little better here, NFL, with some of the safety protocols? We like what the doctors are saying. You're not providing it. We want to be tested more frequently. They also don't want to play any exhibition games. And the NFL wants one that would be 2 weeks before opening night. In other words, what would be the third exhibition game is the one the NFL is trying to push for. Now, to the NFL's credit, and I will rarely say that, I'm not a big fan of the corporation of the NFL. I like the product, but I don't, the offices don't thrill me too much. They're backed off a little bit. First they wanted two, the players said none, so the compromise is one. The players still don't want to play any. And you can understand why for a multitude of reasons. But if you do one, and you have that 2-week break before you kick the regular season off, I could live with that. And in a weird kind of way, it's a hell of a test. You talk about a canary in a coal mine. That would be the ultimate canary in a coal mine test, would be to go ahead and just splash all your preseason games out there and let's see what happens. And if it fails miserably, well, then we know. I don't have anything new about college for you, but I did want to ask you this question. And I didn't even know about this until a few days ago. In the NBA bubble up at Disney, I didn't realize there were snoops, spies, depending on how you feel about that, rats. Informers might be a more formal legal term, who are spying on people and seeing if they are living up to the COVID protocols that you need to have in that enclosed NBA-only area. Although there are employees, cast members they're called, of Disney who are in and out of that area, the hotels and such. We learned about this because a few players have been busted for not wearing masks in appropriate places. They're watching reporters, they're watching everybody. So is that a job that would interest you? Would you want to be one of those people? Like I had this debate last night. The contact tracers, I want to call them contract tracers, but the contact tracers, the people, I guess, who, let's say I were to test, then they would have to go positive, and then they would have to go find all the people that I have been around. I wouldn't want that job. It's detective work, I guess. I'd rather be a detective than have that position. I would think that would be relentlessly depressing and relentlessly getting people who don't want to talk to you, which I guess also happens to real detectives. But Dwight Howard, we have discovered, is not a fan of the mask. And I don't mean that, you know what I'm talking about, the Jim Carrey movie. Sorry, that was kind of very good. But wearing the mask, he's been seen. Dwight Howard can't hide, as you know. He's a 7-foot tall person. All right? So it is extraordinarily difficult to hide. If you're 6'1", you can blend in. Even if you look athletic, you can blend in. When you're 7 feet tall and look athletic, and you're not wearing a mask, and you're a relatively well-known NBA player like Dwight Howard, Dwight's has been caught many times already without wearing a mask, and he's also not apparently too interested in any vaccination trials, which is his right. But Dwight apparently didn't realize that this virus is an airborne one. So hopefully he knows now. So Dwight, man, you had such promise. You got hurt. You got a little silly. The money, the thing to LA didn't work out. And now this. I don't know what if I'm the NBA, I'm having a private conversation with him. In fact, if I'm Adam Silver, the commissioner, I am absolutely having a private conversation with Dwight, even if it's on Zoom. A phone call. You want me to make a phone call? I'm Adam Silver. I'm making that phone call. I am absolutely making that phone call. And I'm going to say, listen, Dwight, happy you made it back to Orlando to play for the Lakers. Keep it going, buddy. Put your mask on, or we're going to have to find a reason for you not to play. Because it's not helping. It's a bad look, too. You can't advertise that we're doing everything we can to get the NBA up and running for this hectic mini season, which starts in 11 days, I believe, and have one of your players, and a well-known player, although I don't consider Dwight Howard a star anymore, but it's a name you know, spit in the face, figuratively, of your protocols. Can't have that. You got to crack. You've got to crack down. And that leads me to another police song, Every Step You Take, right? Every step you take, I'll be watching you. That's kind of what we have here on this special Police Monday, the band, The Police, Monday edition. You ever watched the show Breaking the Band, by the way? It was on, God dang it, Access, I think, or MTV2 or something like that. Anyway, they're hours. And it's one of these docudrama things that is a recreation, but somehow they always get one real person from the band interviewed. In this case, it was Stuart Copeland, their remarkable drummer for the Police. And so that's out there if you're looking for something to watch about the entire band, the Police, and how he called Sting a sun-kissed god as a lead singer and performer and songwriter and all that. So there you go. All the Police you've ever wanted to talk about in a so-called sports report here on a Nooner with Dave on a Monday. Don't forget, we'll have a Nooner on Friday as well. That's noon Eastern Time. Hey, look who the greatest player in history of golf is now. It's Jon Rahm, not Bryson DeChambeau. Well, that happened fast. Bryson didn't make the cut at the Tougher Memorial Tournament, and how they turned that thing into a difficult golf course, I don't know. When people are writing articles, and I read 2 of them today, saying, hey, Tiger shot 76. That was great. Look, if I shoot 76, I want an article written about me. But that shows you how difficult the course was, that people were actually encouraged that he made the cut, which it didn't look like he was going to when we spoke on Friday, and that he actually shot a 76 and didn't fall apart at the seams. Man, have our standards gone down for judging that guy. Anyway, golf is, just to show you how great his run was, though, when he ran it, he was number 1 for so long. Now Jon Rahm, who's a very gifted player, is the new number 1, while DeChambeau, the future of golf, slammed his trunk, which is an expression for missing the cut, and went back to the lab to drink more protein shakes so he can hit the ball 500 yards. Speaking of Jack Nicklaus, who we talked about the other day and wanting to change the golf ball, he and his wife Barbara both survived the virus. They both tested positive very early in March, and he said it was with him for about 3 weeks, and they're all right now. And Jack is 80. I don't know how old Barbara is, but I imagine relatively close to that. They're absolutely in the most vulnerable group, right? And here's another famous person coming out and saying, yeah, I had it. It stinks. So please take your precautions wherever you go. I want to shift out of sports for a little bit into something that I didn't think I was ever going to talk about, and it does not apply to me at all, and probably never will. And that's dating apps. Let's say I know some people who are doing this sort of thing. And let's say I have been privy to some of the photos that people put in these things. First off, the pressure on that must be unbelievable. Like, how do you decide what your look is going to be that you're throwing out there for other people to judge you? Because it seems incredibly mean-spirited to just look at your phone and go, oh. Like that scene in Animal House, remember? Where they're showing the pledges and Flounder comes up and Stork goes, bah! It's the same thing. It's cruel. You really got to have some bravery in your soul to just throw it out there. You're judged immediately. It's really cruel. It is. And then you have all the things you like and don't like. You like, short walks on the beach. I like great food. I like whatever. I'm very fortunate that I don't have to do it. And I don't think if I were a single male, I don't know what on earth I would do now. Because we know what dating used to be like, and now we know what dating is like. And I guess there's some advantages to it. For example, you get to see what they look like, and they get to see what you look like. But the other weird thing about dating apps is it follows you. So let's say you live in Fort Lauderdale, and you're visiting somebody in Boca. And all of a sudden you check your app, and here come 12 things from Boca. Well, maybe you don't want to drive back and forth. And then you try the dates, and they don't work out. I don't know of anybody that I know who has succeeded with a dating app other than getting the occasional date. I mean, truly succeeded in a genuine, happy, loving relationship that you'd want for your friends or anything like that. Haven't seen it happen yet. There's a couple people were following my wife and I, and, I wish them well. But I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. Because there's the whole swipe left. I mean, and there's so many of them. I didn't realize that. I thought the first one was left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Nah, there's more. There's a ton more. So it's insane. I wouldn't want any part of it. And I am really, 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 really hoping that I don't ever I don't think I will, have to follow that kind of protocol in my life again. I'm going to move my mic here because I do see some comments. Yeah, I see. Hal, I agree with you. I wouldn't want to have the job of turning people in, but you do want someone to do it? Yes, I'm with you on that 100%. 100%. And Wayne, yes, those were 3 freak musicians in the Police. Absolute freak musicians. They were not normal musicians. All of them. And Sting may have ended up with the great solo career, but Andy Summers did well. Stuart Copeland did a boatload of movies as the soundtrack, the lead soundtrack guy. Did some incredible work. No, absolutely. It's that band, freakishly talented people. Really, really, really like them. If you're trying to message me on Facebook Messenger, that's not going to work right now. I'll get your messages later, by the way, for those of you who are trying to do that way. The best way to get a comment into me would be in the next couple of minutes on right here where you normally do it. Yeah, right here. That's good direction. That's why I'm on camera and not behind the camera. All right. Time to fix the English language. And I have an email here from a Jennifer. And Jennifer is from my house. This is my wife. Her biggie on this, irregardless. And man, am I with her. And I did some research on irregardless this morning. And it's technically a word. But it's one of those 10-cent words, I used to call them, that makes you sound smarter than you really are. And an intelligent person would know that you're trying to fake your way through being smart. Regardless does just the job it needs to do. It's the right word. Irregardless, I don't know where that came up. I don't know who's the first person who uttered it, whether a caveman chipped it into a wall or somebody just, irregardless of that, maybe a lawyer blurted it out in a courtroom trying to make an argument, which would be contempt of language, if not contempt of court. So let's ban irregardless. There's no defense for it. I don't want to hear it's a word, even though it is in some dictionaries. It goes out. All right? We're done with it. I don't use it. I like regardless. It gets the job done. And that's what matters. Just cut to the chase and chop irregardless out of your life. I promise you'll be a happier person. People will invite you to parties. Your IQ will just pop right up. A couple of extra points. We could all use that. Man, could we use that these days. So, irregardless, out of here. I mentioned one final thing here. I always try to pimp my YouTube channel. And by the way, I'm now over 100, so that check should be rolling in. I'm looking out my window now. No, the truck hadn't arrived, but it's coming. But I'm going to do something. I'm going to add to that because I realized that I could do things live on YouTube as well. So starting tomorrow, and every day that I don't do this show, so in other words, I can do it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm going to do a short 5-minute, roughly, Daily Dave on YouTube. It'll be live, but it will also be available. So if you're tied up, you can't do the YouTube, that's okay. In order to see it, though, you have to subscribe to the channel. And that, of course, is still 100% free. It's just a couple of clicks, and I do really appreciate it. I've gone from 3 to over 110 in a very short period of time, and that looks good statistically, but it's a long way to go. And this way, now, instead of, in addition to having these here, I'll have live content. It may just be one topic. Only one topic. Maybe two, now that I thought about it. But it'll be, whatever is hot. Commentary might be sports, it might not. Again, I've reserved the right to not exclusively stick to sports. And I hope you can join me. I'll do the first one tomorrow on YouTube, so it'll be tomorrow Wednesday, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. I might just do them from outside, slap on a pair of earbuds and do it from my phone. Whatever I decide to do it, whenever I decide to do it, it'll be on YouTube starting tomorrow. That'll be your Daily Dave. And that will supplement what goes on here with the Nooner on Monday and on Friday. So that'll wrap things up. I think I got everything out of the way. So we're going to fix, I have another thing on Friday with the English language that I'm going to hold your hand on this one, because a lot of you are afraid to do something, and I'm going to guide you through it. And we're going to get through this next language issue on Friday as a group. All right? I promise. Relief, joy, no pain. It'll be fun. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Anybody want to sponsor this puppy? Would you like me to talk about your product? I would like me to talk about your product, assuming that you're not like some ridiculous product. So please get a hold of me through the Facebook Messenger or any way if you don't already have a way to get a hold of me. That'll do it for the Monday Nooner. I think we covered a lot today. Thank you for the comments, and really, really appreciate that. I see Leland Sklar. The only thing is I don't think if the Leland Sklar, is that the bass player? With the big, was that the guy who dresses like a out-of-work mechanic? Lisa, which one is it? Real quick. I know the name. I believe he's the bass player. I'm thinking of somebody else. But yes, Leland Sklar doing daily videos on his YouTube channel. I will subscribe to that. He is a well-known, very well-traveled, very, very famous musician. Even though the name doesn't ring a bell, if I showed you his face. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to try to get a guest on Friday. Yeah, Lisa, I thought that was the bass player. Yeah, he's been with everybody. Absolutely everybody. Neil Young's used him. James Taylor has used him. God, he's had a long, long history of being the guy who holds it all together with the bass in rock music. So go find Leland Sklar, Sklar on YouTube. I'll do that too. Time to go. Time to make lunch. Thank you again. I'll see you Tuesday on YouTube with the Daily Dave, and I'll see you Friday back here at Facebook Live on a Nooner with Dave. And what else? 12 o'clock. Now comes the awkward pause while I smile and hit the end live video button.